Our next guest is someone who has shaped American politics. He continues to contribute to our nation's story. Former Speaker of the House alongside his wife, Callista, they have brought us this new amazing documentary called Journey to America. Mr. Speaker, Newt Gingrich, always an honor to have you here. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, and I appreciate very much the chance to talk with you about the PBS documentary, which will be on at 10 tonight, and later will stream on PBS.com and the PBS app. And I can just tell you that we were so thrilled, both Callista and I, to be able to do Journey to America and to have people like Henry Kissinger on the show. And I think people will find it very inspiring to realize how much people coming to America have added to our country.
Yeah, I'm hoping that future generations that they see got people like Albert Einstein and Hedy Lamarr, these icons of innovation. How do you think immigrant contributions have shaped the U.S. as a global leader when it comes to things like science and technology?
Well, it's really interesting. I think probably the biggest surprise to me when we did research for Journey to America was Hedy Lamarr. I had known her as an actress who did the road movies with Bob Hope and Bing Crosby, but it turned out that she was an inventor, and that in order to help us defeat the German submarine threat, she had invented a technology which is now embedded in virtually every cell phone in the world. But it just somehow didn't fit any of my image of who she was. And that's the kind of thing that leaps out at you, that people contributed in ways you didn't think of. Cam Ghaffarian, for example, came here from Iran at 16 years of age, studied math and engineering, now heads up the largest private sector space company, is actually the second biggest customer for SpaceX after the U.S. government, is building a private space station, and also heads up a company that's building modular nuclear power for artificial intelligence. And he's an amazing contributor to making America a better and stronger place. And you run into these things over and over again.
Our guest, Newt Gingrich, the former Speaker of the House, along with his wife, Ambassador Callista Gingrich, a new PBS documentary called Journey to America. And in this documentary, it emphasizes the American dream as like a beacon of hope. In your view, how has this dream evolved over time? And what does it mean in this polarizing climate that we're in politically?
Well, I think, first of all, you can begin to reduce the polarization by refocusing on the American dream. I head up a project called America's New Majority Project, which looks at polling data and tries to find 70 and 80% issues. This is still a very patriotic country, and people really want America to succeed. They want America to work. And I think you can reach way beyond partisanship and probably get somewhere between 85 and 90% of the people to agree that we ought to be an American team and we ought to be working to make America a better place. And I think you start with things like that. You have to win the culture before you can unlock the politics.
During this current debate right now that's surrounding immigration, what do you hope that viewers are going to take away from the stories in Journey to America? How do you think that these stories are going to influence this public discourse that we have right now?
Well, our hope, when Callista and I decided to make this film, and it's the 10th movie we've made, our hope was that we would remind people that legal immigration is an enormous asset to the United States. You know, it's very interesting, despite all of the news media coverage, 73% of the country is opposed to illegal immigration, and Callista and I would be two of those folks, but also the same number, 73%, is in favor of legal immigration. And we wanted to give that 73% some stories that they can use to argue with their friends and neighbors, to remind us that we want to keep open the door for legal immigration while we are closing the door for illegal immigration.
I noticed that many of the stories, when I was reading over the 9 amazing stories that you guys chose for this documentary Journey to America, that many of them, they highlight community and collaboration. I've learned in business, Newt, as I'm sure you've learned, you don't do anything alone. How do you think that these values contribute to the success of immigrants and our nation as a whole?
Well, I always tell people that the great opening up of America was wagon trains, not individual mountain men. The wagon trains were voluntary gatherings of people who wanted to achieve something. And that's the heart of the American system. This is a team country. There's a reason that football and basketball and other team sports do so well. We have an instinct that life operates for teams. And what happens is people come from overseas. They bring their talent, their ambition, their energy, their drive. They make us a better, stronger country. And as a result, we're able to do things that no other country in the world can do. And I think that that's going to continue. And I think that we are likely at the early stages of a golden age of invention and entrepreneurship that will make all of us feel dramatically better.
I have arguments sometimes with my African American friends. I wouldn't call it an argument, but just trying to get an understanding, because sometimes I'll say things like, yeah, you got to believe in the American dream. Isn't America great? I have a USA flag out on my mailbox at my house. I try to love my country, but a lot of my African American friends say, it may be great for you, but it isn't so great for me. What do I say to these friends of mine?
Well, I think you say to them, first of all, you have a higher income than virtually anybody in Africa. You have more amenities. You have greater opportunities. If you go out and work hard, the sky's the limit. Look at people who are African American who become amazingly successful, and who, whether they're in sports or they're in entertainment or they start their own businesses. The key is to focus on the positive and work your heart out, not to focus on the negative and sulk.
We're talking with Newt Gingrich. He's teamed up with his lovely wife, the ambassador, Callista Gingrich, and they've got this new documentary coming to PBS called Journey to America, telling some great stories about immigration, choosing 9 individuals. How did you go about picking these select 9?
First of all, we wanted them from a wide range. So we have Kissinger from Germany, Hedy Lamarr from Austria, Maria Dom from Russia, Xi Van Fleet from China, Zalmay Khalilzad from Afghanistan, Einstein, who spent much of his career in Switzerland, Mother Cabrini from Italy, Victoria Sparks from Ukraine, and Cam Ghaffarian from Turkey. So we wanted a diversity. We wanted to show that people came from all over the planet and made America a better place.
I recommend everybody go watch Journey to America on PBS. Our guest here, the 50th Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, was involved along with his wife. I would like to, as they say nowadays, Newt, give you your flowers. I got some flowers for you, Newt. Your historical accomplishments, Newt. You deserve some flowers for that contract with America you made in 1994. This contract, significant role for the Republican Party. They gained control of the House for the first time in 40 years. When you look back, Newt, what aspects of that contract do you believe had the most impact?
Well, I think welfare reform, which liberated millions of Americans from dependency and put them back to work, and raised more young people from poverty than any single act we've ever had by getting their parents to go to work and earn a living. I think second, the only 4 balanced budgets in a row in the last 100 years. You look at those two, and we did other things like creating Medicare Advantage, reforming the Food and Drug Administration, reforming telecommunications, which really laid the base for the Internet. So we were very, for a brief period there, Congress was very productive and very effective, and we did it with a Democratic president. So it can be done.
These devastating and gut-wrenching images that I'm seeing, the fires in California, there has been a lot of critics who say that it's progressive far-left policy that's caused some of these fires in California. How much, in your opinion, is it Santa Ana winds and power lines, and how much is to blame for progressive policy in California?
No, 95%.
95.
It's 95. It's ridiculous. They had in a referendum in 2014, they had voted for 4 additional reservoirs of water. None of them have been built. The left refused to clean out the underbrush. Actually, one of the great success stories, Laguna Beach cleaned out its underbrush by bringing in goats, and the goats go around and eat the underbrush. And I ran into this story, and it turned out that the Reagan Library was saved from a major wildfire a few years ago because they have goats that ate up all the brush around the Reagan Library. Now you look at that. There is a low-cost solution that would have been dramatically better. And of course, you cannot overstate the insanity of the environmental left in California. They fought every single thing that would work, and then you had politicians who wanted to pay off the left, so they didn't invest in the fire department. And the head of the fire department has been very direct and very clear that they had warned for years that they were underfunded, under-equipped, had too few people, and now it's all come home. So I don't think you can understand how bad this is without recognizing how much Governor Newsom and the Democrats in city government and in state government, how much they contributed to creating the disaster, the human disaster that we're living through.
Mr. Speaker, you have been vocal about your support for our president-elect Donald Trump, and I'm just curious if you've had the opportunity to talk to him much, and if you did have the opportunity, what would you put at the top of his agenda list in these next 4 years? What is at the very top?
I chat with him occasionally, and look, I'll say the same thing I say to any public figure. Listen to the American people. Lincoln once said that with public sentiment, nothing can fail, and without public sentiment, nothing can succeed. Reagan said all of his great legislative victories came from the American people, not from the Congress. And I think you have to start with that idea. I think if they listen to the American people, they can write a big bill this spring, and they can have an enormous impact on the country by the 4th of July. But they have to do it first by listening to the American people.
What do you think President-elect Trump's biggest obstacles are in these next 4 years?
Well, I'm actually writing on this at Gingrich 360 for tomorrow. They have, I think in a recent survey, 43% of the senior bureaucrats said they would actively try to stop his program. And I'm going to basically say we need to adopt a new law that if that's your attitude, you're fired. I mean, the idea that some bureaucrat being paid by the American people is going to block the wishes of the commander-in-chief elected by the American people, that's crazy.
And to leave you, this PBS documentary, Journey to America, which you've worked with your wife on, and we're excited to watch it on PBS. What are you hoping, in the end, the American people will take from this, and why should they be watching?
I hope they will decide that it's very important to distinguish legal and illegal immigration, and it's very important to encourage legal immigration at the very moment that we're going to close the border and start deporting criminals. You
got any great stories from the White House? Maybe a story that you enjoy telling, a White House story?
No, most of my stories are boring. I don't talk much about those kind of meetings.
No, I'm sure there was some fun stuff going on when President Clinton was in there.
Well, there was. I just don't talk about it.
Okay. Well, we'll have to read one of those many books that you've penned. Thank you for your time, Mr. Speaker, and good luck with the documentary. We'll be watching.
Thank you.